Running coupled with New York City is a close embodiment of what running is like, a form of expression that balances between suffering and euphoria. There's nothing quite like it. Once you get in a rhythm, it's almost like you float, only to be reminded of the pain that goes along with it if you run a little too hard. But that's what makes it all worth it. I can't imagine my life without it. Hello. I hope you enjoyed that short cinematic sequence. I really enjoy making those before every shoe review that I do. So if you enjoy that, let me know in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's talk about the Nike Next Percent 2.
She see money all around me. I look like I'm the man.
The Nike Next Percent 2 comes in at a $250 price point and is a neutral road racing running shoe. It has an 8mm drop and is a very fast shoe. Nike did not mess around when it came out with the Next Percent lineup, and the Next Percent 2 isn't any different. With the Next Percent 2, there are 3 major updates that I'll talk about briefly, and those are the increased padding in the tongue of the shoe, the forefoot rand along the bite line of the toe box, and lastly, they got rid of the vaporweave material and created this more breathable knit. With all that being said, let's get into the specs of the shoe. First, let's start with the upper. The first major update, like I mentioned, is the zonal tongue padding. So this tongue padding has a little bit more cushion, and that's something that wasn't there in the Nike Next Percent 1s. It's super useful. It really was intended to reduce the lace pressure when you were tightening your shoe, and I definitely felt that it added a lot more comfortability when I put my shoes on. The Vaporfly laces are actually now part of the Nike Next Percent 2s, so they got rid of the standard lacing in the Next Percents and instead decided to go with the Vaporfly lacing. I actually really enjoy it. It makes it look a lot more eloquent and it looks really cool, so good on Nike for making that aesthetic change. Another thing with the upper, Nike decided to curve the eyelet chain to warp around your foot. I actually think that it really suited me well, and it wasn't something that I really noticed too much. I'm sure the Nike engineers really put a lot of thought into that and why they decided to go with that and stick within the Next Percent 2s. So that's something that hasn't changed much since the Next Percents. One thing to also note in the upper is that Nike decided to forego the vaporweave and replaced it with a much more breathable mesh. In the vaporweave material, it crunched a lot, so that was something that a lot of people complained about, and Nike decided to completely revamp it and go with this different type of knit. I really enjoy it so far. I definitely feel like it's breathable, and especially as it gets hotter here in New York City, that's something I'm gonna have to lean on as it gets warmer outside. On top of that, Nike decided to include a forefoot rand along the bite line of the toe box. This is to prevent any rocks or loose debris from wedging into your shoe. A lot of shoes end up breaking down right along the bite line of the toe box, and by including this forefoot rand, it really prevents this from actually happening. The heel section has a padded heel, which makes it more snug fitting. It actually gives it a lot more comfort in the back, so you feel more secure. I did have a little problem with it when I initially tried on the shoe. I had some minor heel slippage, and I was concerned that that would also affect me when I'm on my run. But I tightened it a little bit more and I didn't notice it at all, which was a good sign. So that is something that I did notice, and I haven't had to do this for other shoes, so I'm not sure if that's just because the way the shoe's designed, I need to tighten it a little bit more, but I didn't think it was a huge problem when I went on my run today. The midsole is the same midsole as the Next Percent 1s. It is a ZoomX midsole. It is very lightweight and bouncy. That was one of the first things that I noticed in the Next Percent 2s is how lightweight and fast that this shoe felt. Even though I didn't go too fast on my run today, I really did feel that propulsion, and I felt like if I did have this shoe during a hard effort that I would go really fast. It still has that full length carbon fiber plate, so that's to be expected in the Next Percent 2, and I'm glad they didn't change anything within the midsole and the carbon fiber plate. The outsole is the same. It has the rubber padding in the forefoot of the shoe, and it has the ZoomX exposed on the heel section. I did already start seeing a little bit of some scuffing in my heel section. I felt like the ZoomX was already starting to wear and tear, which is not a very good sign. This shoe is intended for racing efforts, so anywhere from the mile up into the marathon distance on road running surfaces. So that's to be expected, that the shoe will get a lot of damage if you are sticking to roads constantly, but I just wasn't expecting the ZoomX to be damaged so quickly in the heel section. With all the improved updates in the Nike Next Percent 2, I'm really excited to have this in my rotation, and I can't wait to get out the door and try it for more runs. I'm really curious to see what types of performances are going to be made in the Nike Next Percent 2s, so that's something to look forward to. With that being said, if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and comment below, what do you think about the Nike Next Percent 2s, and are you going to be purchasing this shoe? Thanks.